Right, so when you can do magic, I don't mean in real life. I mean in fiction, whether you're writing a book, a comic, TV show, or film. When you can do magic, it can be a very, very successful endeavour. And it can entertain millions. And I've done this, I'm doing this video separate from my normal comic review videos because we're going to be looking at this little beauty here in this video. The new $10 64-page comic book from Marvel, and we're going to discuss whether it's any good or not after the scroll. Bonjour, everyone. Bonjour, especially to you over 20,000 sexy, nutty, mental subscribers to my channel. Thank you so much. You know by now how much I appreciate you. And also, out of that lot, the very, very few of you, the 0.0001% that comment, that talk to me. Come on, guys. Let's get talking about this stuff. If you love this stuff as much as I do, and I'm only doing this video separate because I don't know why, I just felt that that G.O.D.S or G.O.D.S, however you're supposed to pronounce this from Marvel, I do think it deserves special treatment, particularly for the price tag. At $9.99, and I know it is 64 pages, right? But this book right here, now I know it's like a limited series and it's introducing new characters and etc, etc, etc. Obviously Johnathan Hickman, the writer of this book, is a bit of a big deal at Marvel. Again, so many of these writers, a bit like Tom King over at DC, I think these writers are becoming a bit Marmite, which years and years ago it wouldn't have been a problem. It's not like everything. If you're a follower of a singer or a band or a film director, you're very rarely going to like every single thing they do. Everything they do. And as long as they don't turn around, particularly, I think this is more an analogy with music. You know, someone like David Bowie bring an album out and you think, like, what have you just done there? Like, what was that all about? But you still bought the album and you still love Bowie, but there's that album there, and I'm talking about vinyl now, forgive me, but there is an OL in geekyOlhog. I dropped the D is silent. But you wouldn't. So they do, like Bowie does an album that you just don't get or you don't like. But it doesn't mean that you now hate everything he's ever done and still don't look forward to. I think a more modern example would be Prince, who was so prolific. He was pumping out so much stuff that I don't know how many of his fans loved everything he did 100%. But that's not what it's about, is it? So with G.O.D.S, Johnathan Hickman, and forgive me, I really did wander off the tracks then, didn't I? Let's get back on the tracks. Johnathan Hickman. I think nowadays we seem to either love a writer or we hate a writer. And we hate that and we love this. And but we can't dismiss what the reputation that Johnathan Hickman and the body of work that he's built up. But is G.O.D.S any good? I'm going to start by saying I think it's a bloated, self-indulgent, overpriced comic book. Because I've got to stop myself swearing. It didn't need 64 pages. It wasn't like you was introducing us to. And it's all based on magic. We're going into, I mean, I don't know what the G.O.D.S stands for. I don't know if it's Guardians of Doctor Strange or what. I don't think anyone's told us, you know what, I'm not, I don't do all the research and go on the web to net and all that. But in recent times, so we're talking about magic. And it is obviously, I've got 5 different examples of magic being done in comics in a more exciting way. Out of this 64 pages, I mean, there is a sequence in this comic book, and I'm not going to do my normal deep dive on this because I can just tell you, right, here we go, I've just landed on it, right? There is a sequence in this comic book, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There is 7 pages out of this 64 right in the middle that is just a 9-page grid of talking. I don't mind a 9-page grid of talking. And I'm not saying there's no action in this, but do you know what? I don't know whether to start right up to date or whether to go back a bit. I'll tell you what, I'm going to go back a bit. This is how popular magic is in the comic book world. Strange Academy. Now, we all know the name, don't we? We all know the name. Thanks to Benedict Cumberbatch and the Marvel movies. We all know this name. Now, imagine Hogwarts. Yeah. Imagine Hogwarts in the Marvel universe. And that's what we've got here. Look, that's issue 2. This is a few years ago, 2 or 3, 4 years ago. And we all know this is the kid of the dread Dormammu. But anyway, look at the characters. It's literally Hogwarts in the Marvel universe, and it was done very, very well. Weaved in Asgardian characters. You had in the earlier issues. It had Doctor Strange. It had Wanda. Yeah, that one before it got spoiled. Magic with a K from X-Men. It was solid. It was good. It was 18 issues, I think. Yes, 18 issues. That's the last issue there. They did do a follow-up called Strange Academy Finals. So basically, they've all gone to school, and this series follows. That was a few years ago, but what I will say is, none of these books were $10. Scotty Young was spot on with his characterisation. All these quirky young, you get the teen angst, you get the teen everything in all this. It was definitely, the only thing I can say is like it's Hogwarts on acid. It was great. It really was. But you know one thing, I'm glad it was like a limited series, or I don't know if it was cancelled at issue 18, it couldn't go on no more. Whatever the story is behind that, I'm glad it's 18 issues followed by the Strange Academy Finals. Because it doesn't wear out. It doesn't wear itself out. So let's deal with magic. It's all the magical characters. So you've got young kids. Doctor Strange has decided to set up an academy to teach the youngsters. We go back to G.O.D.S, and this issue 1 is introducing us to, and we're in the Marvel universe, and Doctor Strange is in this, so we're grounding it firmly in the Marvel, but introducing a ton of new stuff, a ton of new characters, a ton of new. I don't know what I don't know what you a ton of new canon, maybe. Over at Image, so magic is big news. So you're going up against, and they really have advertised this and lauded this to the max. I don't know who the Win character is on the front cover. I don't know who Win is. I don't know who he is. And I don't mind that. Don't mind that as long as it trots along. Over at Image, and if you've been following my videos for any length of time, there's another one here. Baron Vanish. The name of the comic is Vanish, and it's Donny Cates and Ryan Stegman who done their run on is it Spider-Man or Venom or Carnage? Anyway, they've cut their teeth at Marvel. And his followers, like Baron Vanish and his followers, are called the Hollow, and Everkeep is the name of the school that this comic sets up. So we've got magic again, but look at how dynamic they do. I know they are kind of cross. I like the Stegman's, like, the magic kind of, that is the sign kind of thing. Look, all of them on each cover. But what I will say is, again, they've done a kind of magic / superhero yarn, and it's awesome. I've really enjoyed it. Like I say, a bit like, Doctor Strange is magic / superhero in a way, but not as much as Vanish. Vanish does push it. It does push it. But again, like Strange Academy, we've still got schools of magic that have been destroyed, or the trials and tribulations of aforementioned school. Which G.O.D.S is, I don't know, it's failing. It fails on a level of engagement. It remains so aloof. Johnathan Hickman's writing, wonderful, by the way. Valerio Shitty's artwork. I don't know if I'm going to get demonetized because I said that. His artwork is superb. It is it's a well constructed, put together piece of comic book storytelling. But I think why I'm doing this video is I'm struggling with why it was 64 pages and it was $10, and it's structured in this way. Why now? It felt like, I'll tell you what it is. It felt like they're jumping on the magic bandwagon. There's a little mini series here called Hexware. If you follow my weekly new comic book reviews, I really did rave about this Hexware, and it's kind of like Blade Runner. Yeah, I suppose Blade Runner meets magic, or Blade Runner meets Harry Potter. No, I don't want to keep saying Harry Potter, but there was enough originality in it, like characters like this. But basically, an android. The Blade Runner bit comes from the. We follow this family whose daughter dies and the family android, something happens to her. But Hexware, I thoroughly recommend this one. I think I did it when it was out. It's a little, but again, dealing with the magic, you can see the hex on a as if your eye isn't drawn towards her chest. It's got a hex whatever you called it on it. But this is the main event. This is the main thing for me. If you haven't been reading Magic Order, Mark Millar. I don't know why I say Millar. When I'm on camera, I say Millar. This is superb stuff. And if you don't, if you need an introduction to Mark Millar, I'm going to keep saying his name like that. He's the one who done Wanted, the movie, if you've ever seen it, and Kick-Ass, a couple of movies if you've seen it, and the creative Hit Girl and all that. Well, he's turned his gaze toward magic in the past year or two. And what G.O.D.S is a little bit too little, too late. When you look at these covers, when you look at how, and it's about the hidden world of people who can practice magic. But what they decided to do, the Magic Order, is them self-imposing rules and regulations on themselves so they don't interfere with human beings too much. It's just that. But what happens when one of these magicians, like the idea of it is that you don't use your magic to make yourself a millionaire. You don't predict the future to win the lottery, or you don't, etc., etc. So where does that lead? I'm gonna wrap this up. That my conclusion is, and the reason I've done this big is because magic is a big thing. It's a big thing now not only the comic book world, just in the genre world, TV, movies, whatever you want to call it, and how you use it, how you're going to play about with it. Look, these Humberto Ramos covers from this Strange Academy. I've just picked this collection up recently, by the way. It's exciting. You can't wait for the next issue. You can't wait for the next chapter. It's a page turner. I've got to say, G.O.D.S or G.O.D.S, Marvel G.O.D.S, it was too long. It was 64 pages. It didn't, I don't know. Did they get a lot in there? They kind of introduced a good few new characters and situations. Did it need 64 pages? No. This left me. I will be getting issue 2, by the way. I will be, but this left me a little bit cold compared to these 4 examples I've just shown you. But let's see where we go with it. And that's the only reason why, because you know what I'm like. I've always got a lot to say about not a lot. But magic is something that, thanks to good old J.K. Rowling and Monsieur Potter, magic is a, well, it's a new genre, isn't it? It is a new genre since Harry Potter come along. In the movie, in the books first of all, and then in the movie, it is a new genre. So magic as a genre, and G.O.D.S is trying to tap into that, but let's hope issue 2 gets on with it. If it's another $9.99 book, now I think there's 4, and it's $40. Could that have been a year and a half's worth of just normal comics? but make it a bit punchier, make it a bit more oomph. Like, come on, guys, let's get on with it. We know it's magic, but what can you do? Because I tell you what, that's what Mark Millar does, or Mark Millar. That's what Mark Millar does with all these characters. Look at this lot. That's what he does. Mark Millar, I've got to say, he gets on with it. He gets on with it, and there's no let up. You know, each issue is a chapter of a story, and each chapter has a beginning, middle, end, and it's gone bang, bang, bang. The question I'm asking myself now is, I wonder how long it would take a Mark Millar to have conveyed all the information that this comic wants us to. I don't know. I think Mark Millar would have done this in 15 pages. Let's just say one normal sized issue. He would have done it. He would have done it like that. It's a shame I couldn't have done some trick then, like the magician, like the magic. Anyway, stay on track, Hog. Right. Do you know what, guys? I'll leave it there. That was just my ponderings on a big release. I mean, a $10 release does deserve. Well, it's asking for it. It's asking for a bit more scrutiny than your normal, $4 and $5 comic books. I'm just going to say I'm decided at the moment, because it wasn't a bad start. But I think it's the $10 bit, I think, that's sticking in my neck compared to what all these others are doing. How exciting they're making it, month after month, for only a couple of quid. So anyway, I am going to leave it there, guys. Let me know what you think, if you've bought this bad boy, or if I've. What I don't really want to do, I don't know if I want to put people off it. To be fair, it's not bad. Like it's not a. I don't feel see what I'm doing now. I'm trying to come to a conclusion whereby I don't know whether I've wasted like the English equivalent of $10 on this book. Like, could I live without it? Of course I could. I could live without any of these comics. Is it rocking the Marvel world? But I'm obviously not giving it a chance, am I? So I don't think this is a warning. Don't buy it. But I think by issue 2, the most I can do for all you lot out there, the most I can do is, I think issue 2 will determine whether or not this is a dud or not. And I'm going to leave it there. And until next time, I'll bid you all adios.